What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo. Today we're going to have Battle of the Eternals. We're going to have Sersi versus Makkari. Two free-to-play characters, although one you do got to pay 4,400 crystals for, but technically she is still free to play. Now, to be fully transparent with all of you, this is not a fair comparison at all. And there's a couple reasons why. The first reason is my cards. One is an energy attack character in Sersi, and the other is a physical attack character in Makkari. And when you take a look at my card effects, I have more energy attack than physical attack. Matter of fact, I have an energy attack proc on top of that. I mean, I gain an extra 20% energy attack every 50, or I have a 5% chance of gaining 20% energy attack every 15 seconds as long as I'm attacking. That is a big difference. Also, I have 23% more energy attack than I do physical attack. So Sersi has a massive leg up, and not only that, but Sersi also has an insane build. When you take a look at this thing, it's quite nuts. Sersi has 58,000 energy attack, right? You look at her stats, they're pretty much maxed out. Leadership tag, all the Eternals got the leadership tag. Her critical rate is 69%. Now here's the big difference between her and Makkari as far as their builds. Sersi also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Odin's Blessings. Yeah, she's got 9 Odin's Blessings, and then her other energy attack Urus are at Mythic. I have a lot in her. She's waifu for me, so I got a lot of love in the girl. And she has a Mythic uniform, whereas Makkari has a Legendary uniform, so she doesn't have quite as much stats as Sersi. I just ran out of bios, so I couldn't level this thing up to Mythic, which kind of sucked. And as far as her Urus, she just has Mythic physical attack Urus. She doesn't have any Odin's Blessings. So Sersi has a huge advantage as far as the energy attack on my cards, as far as her actual build. I mean, she's got a big advantage. But something that does balance it out between these two characters is that I do have a mighty CTP of energy on my Makkari. This is giving her an extra 20% all attack. So even though I have 23% less physical attack than energy attack on my cards, this is kind of making up the difference, although I still have the energy attack proc for Sersi, and the build for Sersi is just better, right? And on the teams that I'm going to show you guys in the comparisons, I'm not going to put Sersi on the team with Makkari. I'm just going to have Sersi, Wave, and White Fox, Makkari, Wave, and White Fox, just to kind of keep things balanced out. Because if I did have Sersi on the team, then, you know, she would give this extra 30% increase of all attack and the increased damage of supervillains to Makkari. But, I mean, with Wave, you get the increase to attack to leadership, and you get 50% increase to damage dealt to super villains, which I would actually argue is actually better than this support. Oh, this is an amazing support, and that's just something else to keep in mind. You know, when you look at this comparison, also know that Sersi's got this self-buffing 30% increase of all attack, but it is a part of her kit. It is a part of who she is, and she has the increased damage to super villains. So she's got the extra increased damage to super villains on top of the supports that she's going to be playing with, whereas Makkari doesn't, right? And a huge difference between these characters is they both have accumulation, but Sersi's is an accumulation based on the damage you take, whereas Makkari's is an accumulation based on how much damage you deal. So it makes her a whole lot easier, plus hers is plus 1.5%, right? It's just, it just makes one character much easier to play versus another character. It's just easier to have consistent damage with Makkari than it is with Sersi. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of show you guys the difference. As far as their ISO 8 sets, they both have a fully awakened Power Angry Hulk set, and Sersi doesn't have an artifact, and Makkari does have this artifact that does increase her damage by 10% whenever she's facing enemies with 50% HP or higher. So that also helps. So that's another thing that kind of balances these two characters out. I mean, even though Sersi does have more energy attack from my cards, I mean, Makkari's got the extra all attack on the CTP of energy, and she's also got this artifact, which does help as long as the HP is above 50% against the bosses. So it doesn't always help, but it helps a lot of the times whenever you're facing a world boss. So I think you guys are actually going to be really surprised with what you're going to see today. We're going to be going against Mephisto and against Null. So the first battle I'm going to show you guys is with Mephisto, right? And you got Makkari on the left, you got Sersi on the right. And again, they're using the same team compositions, you know, and we just got damage to supervillains and increased attack strikers. Now, Makkari has a huge advantage in this thing because she's a speed type. And keep in mind, I don't even have her type enhancement leveled up at all. It's not leveled up at all, and that would increase her damage exponentially, right? She'd do way more damage if it was leveled up, but it isn't. But the thing about Sersi is, you know, you're always trying to take damage with this character, so you got to play her very carefully. And just to be fully transparent with you guys, the run that you're seeing with Sersi, I actually played quite a few times trying to get a good run in to take damage, whereas the one with Makkari, one time, I just flew through it. So there's a big difference between these two characters already, you know, because one has damage dealt to supervillains, right? Or one has a damage accumulation based on how much damage you deal. It's just easier to always be consistent. And you guys can see that Makkari definitely pulls ahead, and I don't think that really surprises anybody, but Sersi's doing really, really well, right? And you see right there what I did is I actually took damage during the purple attack with Sersi, so that way we could just pour it on. And I mean, when you take damage and you time your proc, it's absolutely insane, like how strong the character is. But again, you know, my Sersi, she's built. I mean, she's built. She's got a lot of those blessings. And you saw right there, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pause this a little bit, but you saw right there that we finished the fight with Makkari at 3 minutes and 41 seconds, right? Now let's see how long it takes Sersi. And Sersi's just got about 6.5 bars left. So she's not super far behind, which is a testament to Sersi, especially considering that she's a blast type, right? She's on a level playing field with Mephisto. She isn't a speed type. She doesn't have that type advantage. So, I mean, you know, Sersi did this a little bit slower, right? 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So, I mean, you're looking at what, a 23-second difference? That's honestly pretty awesome for Sersi to do that well and to really clear this thing that fast. That's actually pretty damn insane that she could do that. But let's be honest, we all knew that Makkari was going to come out on top in this run. It's against Mephisto. She's a speed type. She's just got the advantage. Now let's move on, and we'll go against the fight against Null. But great job, Sersi, man. Freaking amazing character. Now, this is where things get real interesting. Now, we're doing stage 29, so we're pushing the envelope as far as, you know, how strong these characters are. And honestly, the fact that either one of these characters can do stage 29 on my account is a testament to how strong both of them actually are. And you're going to be really surprised with this, right? Now, again, Sersi does have a big advantage because she has all the Odin's blessings. She's got the extra energy attack proc on my account, right? On my cards. And that does make a big difference, but she's at a disadvantage because she isn't as consistent. You have to take damage to deal more damage. And a lot of people like to argue about, you know, the rotation that you want to use for Sersi. Some people are going to go 3, 4, 5 awaken skill, proc on the awaken skill. I don't like to do that because you're actually in an iframe on the awakened skill. I like to actually proc on the 4 because you're not in an iframe. You're standing in front of Null or whoever your opponent is, and you're actually going to take more damage. And I definitely find in my experience, like when you're playing with Sersi, going 3, 5, 4, whenever Null raises his hand, that means that tentacle is going to slap down. So when you see him raise his hand, go 3, 5, 4 real quick, and you will take damage. The skill will not get canceled. Like right there, what I just did with Sersi, I took a good amount of damage, and she's doing amazing, guys. She actually finished the first phase of this fight before Makkari did. I mean, Sersi's got a lot of power. She's a very, very strong character. But again, Makkari is at a disadvantage, right? She doesn't have a mythic uniform. She doesn't have all the extra energy attack from my cards, but she does have a mighty CTP. I mean, it's just really the Odin's blessings on Sersi's making a huge difference because it's giving her so much more energy attack. But I mean, both of the characters are fairly easy to play, although I do think that Makkari's quite a bit easier because she's just consistent. You don't have to worry about taking damage, although her third skill can be a little bit difficult sometimes to time because sometimes it will set off the proc. Like, it's not so bad when you're just doing like 3, 5, but a lot of times when you go 3, awaken skill 5, it does set off the proc early. But I mean, look at them, guys. I mean, they're pretty much neck and neck. They're pretty much neck and neck. It's pretty astonishing, actually, how well they're doing. Pretty amazing, right? And, you know, Sersi's just got a regular CTP of energy on her. I think if I had a mighty CTP with a beatdown proc on her, I might play her a little bit different. Maybe then I would want to put the proc on the awakened skill because you'd want that extra beatdown proc, that extra pierce to proc while you're doing all your damage. So, I mean, maybe it'd be a little bit different then, but I always do find, at least for me, doing 3, awakened skill 5, 4, or 354 is just better as far as trying to take damage and dealing more damage with Sersi. I find that I have more consistent results, and I think it speaks for itself as far as like right now how well she's doing. Now, something about Sersi is because she has a decreased damage received, and so does Makkari. Makkari's got decreased damage received too also, is both of these girls are actually very, very tanky, right? That's something that they have in common on top of being both Eternals, right? Is that they can take a lot of damage. Now, there with Sersi, I kind of screwed up a little bit. I was trying to take damage so I could deal more damage while the tentacles were slapping down, and I don't want to use my Awakened skill. You do not want to use your Awakened skill with Sersi because in the very final phase against Null, he's going to be dealing a lot of damage to you, and that's really when you want to have your Awakened skill ready so you can take a lot of damage to deal a lot more damage, as you guys will see here in a second. So right now I'm getting it done here. We'll finish it up. And this is something that did slow Sersi down a little bit because you're always relying on taking damage with the character. Now right now, this is what I mean. Now look at Sersi, right? We want to have the Awakened skill ready. We hit the 3, Awakened skill, 5-4, and look at all the damage we were able to deal. Right? And she's so tanky and she has to heal on the 3rd skill with this uniform. She survived that. I mean, look at this, right? And look, right here, you guys can see that Makkari I was at 1 minute and 1 second, right? 1 minute and 1 second. She did this in about 4 minutes. Whereas Sersi, look at her. She's at 1 minute, 3 seconds, and we only have 1 bar. They're pretty much neck and neck. I mean, pretty much neck and neck with the current builds that I have and with the card sets that I have on these characters. I mean, it's pretty astonishing on how close they were against Null. I was actually pretty flabbergasted by it, but again, just like I did with Mephisto, I had to play Sersi multiple times, trying to get in that perfect run, trying to take damage throughout the entire fight so I could deal more damage. But as you all saw, man, she really is insane. To clear stage 29 Null in 4 minutes is pretty, I mean, it's pretty astonishing. But all in all, I mean, I do think that Makkari is a better character. She's stronger than Sersi. She's more consistent than Sersi. She's easier to keep your proc where it belongs. That is a big thing for her. And she's an ABX meta, right? That's another thing that's just kind of icing on the cake. But I mean, really, both these characters are just absolutely nuts. They're both bonkers. But let me know how you're all feeling about this comparison. Let me know which one of these characters you actually think is better. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.